In a time full of war, be peace. In a time full of doubt, just believe. There ain't that much difference between you and me. In a time full of war, be peace. In a world full of hate, be a light. When you do somebody wrong, make it right. Don't hide in the dark, you were born to shine. In a world full of hate, be a light. In a place that needs change, make a difference. A time full of noise, just listen. 'Cause life is but a breeze, you better live it. A place that needs change, make a difference. World full of hate, be a light. When you do somebody wrong, make it right. Don't hide in the dark, you were born to shine. In a world full of hate, be a light. La 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 la. Race you can't win, slow it down. You only get one go round. 'Cause the finish line is 6 feet in the ground. In a race you can't win, just slow it down. A world full of hate, be a light. When you do somebody wrong, make it right. Don't hide in the dark, you were born to shine. World full of hate, be a light. Yeah, it's hard to live in color when you just see black and white. In a world full of hate, be a light.
Wow. Thank you, John. Welcome to the Congregational Church of South Dartmouth. We here in this place, we are an open and affirming congregation of the United Church of Christ, and we are fond of saying here that no matter who you are or where you are on life's journey, that you're always welcome here. So welcome this morning. We're delighted to have you in the beloved community this morning, so welcome. Before I begin announcements, there are some people over here in folding chairs that are very near and dear to me. And my sons Ross and Ross's girlfriend and Megan and Eddie, and Emma and her wife Autumn, and my grandson Nathan, and then we have the two fairy godmothers, and my husband, and my good friend Diane, and my wonderful friend Angela, and her daughter Maddie. And I am delighted, and Megan's mother and Megan's grandmother. So we have a full house today. And I was just sitting here thinking that my mother was supposed to come today, and she's no longer with us. But what we've got instead is we have a wonderful grouping of people that add to the beloved community. So we're grateful for your presence among us this day, all of you. And the grandson's pretty great. I feel so bad sometimes for the people on the ministries here because we've been on Zoom and everybody has to endure all the Nathan pictures at the beginning of Zoom meetings. I'm like, has anyone seen Nathan recently? Let me show you. And you know, when you're remote, you can't get up and walk out of the room. So I'm glad they're here this morning. If you walked in from the parking lot, you saw there is a black trifold board. And on the top of it, it says, "The Saints in Our Lives." And if you have lost anyone in the last, any time in your life, it doesn't have to be in the last year, there are 3 markers, and I wish that you would write the name of the people that you've lost in your lives. The saints. I wrote down a dear friend, John Somer's name this morning, and my mother and father's and my grandmother's, and that we are going to use that board on November 7th on All Saints Sunday. It will be the backdrop to worship. So I hope that you will write, and listen, if you need to come back during the week and write, because you've got so many people, you are welcome. I'll leave it out in the hall of the church offices and the 3 Sharpie markers for you to use. So that's what that's back there for. And also, while I'm talking about what's back there, is Beth Netto is probably in teaching the children. But the religious education ministry got a call this week from the United Way, and they are in real need for items for babies. And I will let you know I am going to cut a check and send from the discretionary fund this week because they need the items by Friday. They're in desperate need, apparently, when they call us last minute like that. So Beth has a table set up as a baby shower back there, baby bundles, and she is going to deliver those items tomorrow. So you can find her email in our Friday constant contact email if you want to speak to her about helping out with that as well. I just know it was a desperate need this week, and that's why it's a last minute thing. So appreciate all that you all do for that. Dr. Sarah McCory and Dr. Ronald Sherwin have been away for 2 weeks, our choir director and our organist and pianist. And we have had the distinct pleasure of having John Williams from the Cape, and his wife is here today, Sherry. And I know something about today that you may not know. Today is John's birthday. I don't have to do that, but it's a great day. Are you kidding? My grandson's being baptized. So, I guess we really can't sing, but can we all on the count of 3 say happy birthday, John, really as loud as you can? 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday, John.
It felt wrong to have you lead us in, in your own, but we hope you have a wonderful day. Absolutely. I believe someone from the fellowship committee a ministry has an announcement. Elizabeth, stand up and project so they can all hear you.
Yes. I might turn my back to you so I can
Please do.
Okay. November 7th, after church, we will do a nature walk at 1 p.m. at Smith Farm. Bring your cameras because we'll also do a photo contest and it's photos for fun. So that's November 7th. And then mark your calendars because we'll also do the nativity walk, our 2nd year of doing a nativity walk, December 4th. So more details will be in this week's Friday email, but wanted to let you know about those 2 upcoming fellowship events.
All right, so November 7th, there's a nature walk at Smith Farm, and bring your camera because there's a photography contest. And then December 4th, we'll have the nativity walk. We'll be set up beautiful with luminaries in the backyard here. So mark that on your calendar. On the 24th of this month, we will bless the animals. We're doing it a little late after the Feast of St. Francis, but we will bless the animals outside in the service. I just ask that if you have a cat, if you put it in a carrier, and if you have a reptile, if you just give me a little advance notice, and if you have a horse, remember I'll come to you. So, every Wednesday we have coffee with the pastor from 9 to 10 at Sunrise Bakery, the Portuguese bakery up the street. And someone this week sent me an email and was like, I didn't stop by for coffee with the pastor because I was in my gym clothes. Okay, let me tell you all something, a little secret. I come from the gym myself to coffee with the pastor. So please come however you are to coffee with the pastor. If you can come for 5 minutes, 30 minutes, or an hour. If you just want to drive by and honk at us and wave, that's great too. But please come, we have a lot of fun. The class on anti-Semitism started this last Thursday, and my good friend Eric Rosen in Wellesley from the synagogue is teaching it, and as you all know, I took the class last fall. Eric and I studied at Hebrew College together, and he teaches the class for 7 or 8 weeks on Zoom. If you missed last Thursday, it's fine. I've had someone email me this morning, new that wants to join it. You don't have to be associated with the church to join it. Also, we have people from all over joining it. So it is about a 7-week class on Thursday evenings on Zoom from 7 to 8 p.m. And if you want to join it, it looks at how Christianity is complicit in anti-Semitism through the centuries. And I just can't tell you all what a life-changing experience it was to take the class from Eric. And if you want to join, please just send me an email, ccsd for Congregational Church of South Dartmouth, pastor@comcast.net. And we'd love to add you to the class. Also, at a later date, we will meet at the synagogue in Wellesley and attend a service there together, so you can meet Eric in person one day. Our reopening team is meeting this Wednesday evening. We will look at worship and what it will look like in the winter months here. We are the last church, I know, everyone tells me, in the area outside. We, as a congregation, follow medicine and science, and so we will look at possibly moving inside the end of the month. I don't think the moderator could be here today, but he is called to meeting this week. Lastly, I know we have a lot of announcements, friends and guests. We have a lot that goes on here, which is a good thing. Dr. Doug Fogg, a retired surgeon, does the foot clinic and binds up the feet of the homeless, as you know, at the foot clinic every morning downtown. So he is still looking for shoes that can be used or new, like athletic or hiking shoes, white socks for the homeless, and backpacks. And the backpacks can be used or new. And Dr. Fogg picks up from me the collection bin, and he is in great need as we move in the winter months, especially of new white men's socks, so for their feet. So I think that's all the announcements for today, and I'll move into joys and sorrows. Are there any concerns this morning? Yes. Okay, and what is your neighbor's name? Can someone pass it toward to me? Gilly? Okay. Prayers for Gilly. Anyone else this morning? Yes. Okay, and Ian, what is your brother's name again? Dexter. And we keep praying for Steve, too.
It's okay, you can add him too.
We can stop praying for Steve?
No, I said you can add him too.
Oh, okay.
My brother's is a lot more serious.
Okay, Dexter. And then Ann's husband, Steve, had a little bit of an accident, but he's recovering well, so, yes.
Starting to-
Carol, okay, good. Carol Flack? Mary? Yes?
I have two joys. Our friends had twin baby granddaughters
Great.
yesterday, and we attended a wonderful wedding celebration for Eric and Paul yesterday.
Eric and
Paul.
Paul, okay. Yes?
I have
Okay.
twin granddaughters, 7 years old, and my husband had serious surgery and it turned out to be very successful Saturday. And she will be going home today.
Oh, good. And what is her name?
Macy.
Macy is going home today, and that's one of your twin granddaughters. Okay. Yes, Troy?
I have a joy.
I love a joy. I'll take a joy.
Our anniversary is tomorrow.
Oh, great. That's fabulous. Yes.
My friend Donna, her bagel went missing 2 weeks ago and we brought it back.
Oh, well, you know I'm a huge animal lover, so we're going to give Thanksgiving the beagle was found. Yes. Margot? Clovis? Okay. Okay, Christian on chemo and Clovis on hospice? Okay. Is that, yes, Tessa.
I almost forgot. Hope told me she wanted a joy because she got 100 on her religion test.
Okay, Hope made 100 on a religion test. That means she can preach next week. And, all right, you tell her we're proud of her. Anybody else? We'll give Thanksgiving for other things like John's birthday and the baptism of Nathan. All right, if there are no other joys or concerns or announcements, we'll move into worship. Treasure with the call to worship found in your bulletin. Treasure for some is found in silver and gold. Treasure can be found in family heirlooms offering precious memories of relationships past. Come now, all of you treasured people, and let us worship the God who created us to be followers of love. And now, if you will, the insert is in your bulletin. We'll sing together the opening hymnal, All Things Bright and Beautiful, and we will sing loud with much joy.
All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small, all things wise and wonderful, in love God made them all. Each little flower that opens, each little bird that sings, God made their glowing colors and made their tiny wings. All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small, all things wise and wonderful, in love God made them all. The purple netted mountain, the river running by, the sunset and the morning that brightens up the sky. All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small, all things wise and wonderful, in love God made them all. The cold wind in the winter, the pleasant summer sun, the ripe fruits in the garden, God made them every one. All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small, all things wise and wonderful, in love God made them all.
Now we join our voices together in one voice this morning, praying the gathering prayer together. O Holy One, we cannot begin to count all our possessions. We have things in our closets, our attics, and our basements. We have things tucked away in boxes we haven't opened in years, and still we acquire more. We have so much stuff, and yet there are those in our communities who can fit all their worldly possessions in a shopping cart. We know that you, O God, will defend the poor and come to them in their need. But we, O God, need your forgiveness, for we are more attached to our things than we willingly acknowledge. Help us confront our attachment to possessions and things more honestly, so we can share our own abundance more equitably. Amen. And now, if Emma and Nathan and Autumn Kellar would come forward, and the godparents, Becca and Sam. I know. And if I could have Emma and Autumn over here with Nathan, and Becca and Sam on the other side. All right. Good morning. You're good. You're perfect, just like that. Can I ask y'all to turn around, though? I'm sorry. If you're going to wear godparent wings, fairy godmother wings, then you are going to get... Yeah, oh, you can turn back around. It's good. Okay. I'm not going to make you stand like that. And some of the church school children have come out, and this is great. Today we will baptize Nathan King Kellar. Today we celebrate the wider family of faith with the sacrament of baptism. As we witness this baptism, let us recommit ourselves to the wide circle of God's people, that is the church. Members and friends in Christ, we gather to celebrate the gift of grace that is baptism, and as we prepare, let us recall its meaning. Baptism is the sacrament through which we are united in Jesus the Christ. It is an outward and visible sign of the grace of God. Baptism with water and the Holy Spirit is the mark of acceptance into the care of Christ's church, the sign and seal of participation in God's forgiveness, and the beginning of growth in faith and discipleship. My favorite line, for out of the waters of baptism we rise with new life, on in Christ and members of Christ's body. Emma and Autumn, do you desire to have your child, Nathan, baptized in the faith and family of Jesus the Christ? If so, state together, we do.
We do.
Do you promise with God's help to live in ways that reflect what it is you believe so that your life conveys to Nathan the spirit of love and care that we receive from God the Creator? If so, say we do. Will you teach Nathan the story of your faith and demonstrate it by giving him the full spirit of love and care that we receive from God the Creator? If so, say we will. And now Sam and Becca, fairy godmothers. As godmothers, will you share the responsibilities that Emma and Autumn have assumed, and will you help them as they seek to lead this child in the way of the Christ, the way of love? If so, state together, we will. We will. All right. So 2 things this morning. I may turn this off because I think I'm going to get feedback. Am I? No? Okay. 2 special things. I was actually out of water from the River Jordan, and the Reverend Karen MacArthur, who has a church in Cambridge, is married to the wonderful Linda Keith in the back, and they came up to me this morning, and Karen ran home and got some water from the River Jordan, just like that. This is special water, too. Linda, your friend who went and got it at the River Jordan, actually ended up in an area of conflict. Am I correct? Correct. And so we were saying how this water is actually moved from the River Jordan through conflict and then to here. So the blessing of the River Jordan will add a drop or 2 to our water this morning. And then another note, 2 other notes of kind of memory. When I cleaned out my mother's home in Atlanta, I found this little blue Bible that had no inscription in it. And so I wrote in it to Nathan, I found this little Bible in my mother's things while cleaning out her home in July of 2021. She passed away unexpectedly in June of 2021. She'd planned to come to your baptism. I knew this was meant to be yours, Nathan. Blessings and love, always, Mimi. So, and then another note, I actually did not have a stole with a dove on it. And I was at my good friend's house Friday in Duxbury, and she gave me one of her father's stoles, and she's sitting here today, and it is beautifully inscribed to the Reverend Don Jennings with love and appreciation, 1989, from his Board of Deacons. So we have a lot of sentimental items this morning that we're carrying on for generations to come. Let us pray. Thank you, God, for the gift of creation called forth by your word. Before the world had shape, your spirit moved over the waters, and out of the deep you formed earth to sustain all of life. In the time of Noah, you washed it with the waters of the flood, and your ark of salvation bore a new beginning. And in the time of Moses, your people passed through the parted waters and crossed the Jordan River to enter the promised land. And in the fullness of time, you sent us Jesus, who was nurtured in the womb, in the water of Mary's womb, baptized in the water of the Jordan, and became living water to a woman at a well, washed the disciples' feet with water, and sent them to baptize all nations by water and the Spirit. Now, O God, we ask that you would bless this water, that you would create a new life in Christ in those baptized today. All glory to you, eternal God, who was and is and always shall be. Amen. Nathan, can you come to Mimi? Hey. Come here. I know, it's your Mimi. Yeah. Listen, I'm going to baptize you. It's that crazy Mimi on FaceTime that you see. Come here. I know, the speaker is so much more fascinating. Nathan King Kellar. Is that the full baptism name by which Nathan will be known? I'm taking your words from you. It's the story of your life, Emma. Nathan King Kellar, I baptize you in the name of the Creator that created you, in the name of the Christ, and in the name of the Spirit, the Holy Spirit. Blessings be upon you, child of God, member of the church. May blessings fall down extravagantly upon your life always. Amen. All right, I'm going to hand you back to your mamas. I love you. Amen. And now, if you would look in your bulletin, there is a congregational response, and we will say it together. Nathan King Kellar, may you always walk as a child of the light. May your light so shine before you that others will see your good works. We give thanks to God for you. We promise to pray for you, support, and love you. Together we will love God and share God's grace and extravagant welcome with all the world. And now a closing prayer. Gracious God, who filled the world with joy by giving us the gift of Jesus the Christ, bless this child. Through his baptism, he has become the newest member of the church family. Fill Nathan with joy and bless his parents, Autumn and Emma, and the godparents, Becca and Sam. May they always show their gratitude for the life you've given them by loving and caring for Nathan, and bless this congregation. Unite us and your newest member together in the peace of the Christ and the company of the Holy Spirit. Amen. And we have a gift for Nathan this day. We have a Bible by Archbishop Desmond Tutu. His baptismal certificate's in the front, and the Bible from Mimi. And you all may sit down, but I'm going to give you one last hug, so don't move far. I love you. Blessings always. Oh, yeah. Come on. Come on. I bet you'll walk to Bubbles. Yep. That is David's name, Bubbles. A reading this morning from the Gospel of Mark, chapter 10, verses 17 through 31. As he went out in the street, a man came running up and greeted him with great reverence and said, "Hey, good teacher, what must I do to live always, forever?" And Jesus said, "Why are you calling me good? No one's good, only God. You know the commandments. Don't murder, cheat, steal, lie, commit adultery. Don't just honor your father and mother." And he said, "Teacher, I have from my youth. I've kept all of those commandments." And Jesus looked him hard in the eye and loved him. And Jesus looked him hard in the eye and loved him. He said, "There's one thing left. Go sell whatever you own and give it to the poor. All your wealth will then be heavenly wealth. And come and follow me." And the man's face clouded over. I imagine mine would too. This was the last thing he expected to hear. And he walked off with a heavy heart. You see, he was holding on tight to a lot of things, and he wasn't about to let go. Looking at his disciples, Jesus said, "Do you have any idea how difficult it is for people who have it all to enter into the kingdom of God?" The disciples couldn't believe what they were hearing, and Jesus went on, "You can't even imagine how difficult it is. I'd say it's easier for a camel to go through the needle's eye than for the rich to get into the kingdom." That got their attention. "Then who has any chance at all?" they asked. And Jesus was pretty blunt. No chance at all if you think you can pull it off by yourself. Every chance in the world if you let God do it. Peter tried another angle. "We left everything and followed you, though." Jesus said, "Mark my words. No one who sacrifices house, brothers, sisters, mother, father, children, land, whatever, because of me and the message will lose out. They'll get it all back. They won't lose out, but multiplied many times in homes, brothers, sisters, mothers, children, and land. But also in troubles. And then the bonus of the life everlasting, the full life. This is once again the great reversal, Jesus said. Many who are first will end up last, and the last will be first. This is the word of God for us, the people of God. Thanks be to God. Let us pray. Creator God, let the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts always be acceptable in your life, and in your heart and in your life. Amen. I'm tongue-tied, so excited about baptizing my grandson. Things. I promised my family I would make it short today. When you're the child of a minister, it's not easy, I walked around room to room by myself. I wanted to be alone in the house, freezing the rooms of my childhood in my mind. The pink moire taffeta curtains, the chandelier, the mirror in the foyer above her little table that was her favorite. I opened the kitchen cabinet and held the blue and white mug cracked in my hands, the one I loved using when I came to visit. I went and crawled up in her bed under the flat canopy and remembered all the cups of coffee I drank there early in the morning visiting with her. You see, it was our thing. Coffee in her bed early in the morning, propped up on the many, many pillows. I ran my hand over her orchids, which always seemed to be in bloom, soft petals, so many colors. I opened her drawer of scarves and gathered them up in my hands and sunk my face in them, smelling her perfume, inhaling that familiar smell. But all of these were things she didn't even cling to. In the scripture today, Jesus says not to cling to things, not to put our hope in things, not to pursue things and more things. If we really want to be followers of the man from Nazareth, then we'll be willing to let it all go. Now, don't hear me wrong today. I'm not saying not to have nice things, but if we put our hearts there, if we cling to things, if we value things over people or things over being a follower of the way of love, that's a problem. Said it before, never seen a U-Haul follow a hearse. You can't take it with you. One day we will all leave this earthly realm and leave things behind, and they will be just that, things. A shipment arrived a few weeks ago here in Dartmouth. 6 pieces of my mother's furniture and 9 boxes of her things. Not a lot from a life of 84 years. I let a lot go, knowing things do not bring a life back. But some things can be passed on. Maybe Nathan one day will run his hand over the little table my mother loves so dear, or maybe he will pull out a piece of her silver at Thanksgiving at his table with his children one day. Today we've baptized my first grandchild, the first of another generation in my family. Emma and Autumn have agreed today to teach Nathan about the way of love and justice for all people. The godmothers have agreed to stand by Emma and Autumn in the years ahead and walk through this life alongside Nathan, cheering him on. My own goddaughter, Maddie, is here today, and David and I will cheer her on always in this life. That's how this life unfolds, gently, over time. It is the people that Jesus lingered with. It was where his heart was, with people. He loved them. Jesus talks of heaven and seeking heaven. And heaven may be for you beyond this world. Or for some of you, heaven may be found here on earth. Father Richard Rohr says heaven is not about belonging to the right group or following the correct rituals. It's about having the right attitude towards existence. There are just as many Muslims and Buddhists and Hindus and Jews who live in love, serving their neighbor and the poor, as there are Christians. Jesus says there will be deep regret, wailing and grinding of teeth in Luke, when we realize how wrong we were. Be prepared, Richard Rohr says. Be prepared to be surprised about who is living a life of service and who isn't. This should keep us all humble and recognizing it's not even any of our business, Rohr says, who's going to heaven, and exactly where is heaven? What makes us think that our minds and hearts could discern the mind and heart of anyone else? And further, Jesus never really taught the immortality of the soul as we understand it today. That was Plato. Jesus taught the immortality of love. I agree with Richard Rohr. I will choose love over things any day. Love and people and relationships, and you certainly can't buy love. May we all in this place, may we hold things loosely. May we ponder what we buy and why we buy it. May we always be ready to heed the voice of the Messiah. Go sell what you have and be willing to give it to the poor. Be willing to let it go. Give extravagantly to those in need. You all have heard me before. At the stoplight, if you have a 1, a 5, or a 20, give the 20. Let it go. And may we linger around tables and places with those we love. May we laugh and experience joy and love together. And oh, dear Emma, your Nana planned to be here today for this important day in Nathan's life. And maybe she is here. Maybe she dwells here in heaven on earth, for the communion of saints always surrounds us. Blessings on this baptism day, this day of saying, let's walk together always in the way of love. For together, I firmly believe we walk each other home in this life. May it be so. May it ever be so. Amen.
I came up out of the water, raised my hands up to the Father. I gave it all to Him that day, felt the new wind kiss my face. I walked away, eyes wide open, to finally see where I was going. Didn't matter where I'd been, I'm not the same man I was then. Got off track, I made mistakes, backslid my way into that place where souls get lost, lines get crossed, and the pain won't go away. Hit my knees, now here I stand. There I was, now here I am. Here I am. Changed. Got a lot to pay, I'm sorry. The things I've done, man, that was not me. I wish that I could take it all back. I just want to tell him that. Got off track, I made mistakes, backslid my way into that place where souls get lost, lines get crossed, and the pain won't go away. I hit my knees, now here I stand. There I was, now here I am. I'm changed for the better, more smiles, less bitter. I'm even starting to forgive myself. Hit my knees, now here I stand. There I was, now here I am. Here I am. I'm changed. Thank God I've changed.
That was beautiful, John. Let us pray together this morning. O great love, O great love of infinite patience and wisdom, we come to you with so many things that claim our time, our energy, our resources, our very lives. We are easily drawn away from serving you by the enticements of the world for wealth, ease, and comfort. Just like the young man in the scriptures, we are owned by our possessions and held captive by our treasures. You continue to offer us healing and hope. You seek to transform our lives from captivity to freedom in witness and service. We look at the world in which there's so very much warfare and strife, anger and hatred, and we easily become overwhelmed by the needs and the stresses of this life. Help us to place our lives and trust in you, O great love, knowing that with your help, wonderful things can be accomplished which will provide hope and peace and justice for others and ourselves. We lift up the concerns of this congregation. Be with Dexter, be with Steve, Gilly, Mary, Clovis, who's in hospice, Christian, who's having chemo, Van, who's having chemo. We give you joy for the baptism of twin granddaughters and of a friend and for the wedding of Eric and Paul. Blessings be upon Eric and Paul's marriage always. We give you thanksgiving and joy that Hope made 100 on her religion tests. We thank you for the children of this church. We thank you that it's John's birthday today, and we give you thanksgiving for he and his wife and their family. We give you thanksgiving that the beagle has been found. We give joy for the twins and pray for Macy, that you would abide with her and keep your hand upon her. We give you thanksgiving for the Tufano's anniversary, for the baptism of Nathan King Kellar, for the lives of all the saints gone on before us in this life. For all this day, we ask that you be with those who are without adequate medical care, food, water, and shelter. Be with those at mobile ministries that we help on Wednesdays on the street, those at the Foot Clinic, and those in United Way desperate for baby items. Remain with all who are sick in body, mind, or spirit. Give strength and hope to the addicted and the recovering. Be with the requests that we carry in our hearts but find hard to utter with our mouths. Give us courage and strength to truly follow the way of love. And now we pray the prayer you taught us to pray, saying in one voice, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. You know, I was reminded from listening to John's song, Changed, that forgiving yourself is so important for things in life. And if you're visiting here today, know this, we've covenanted here to live imperfectly together. So when you hear a sermon about things, don't drive away from here feeling bad, please, because Jesus calls you the beloved. Maybe we all need to re-examine what it is we buy and when and why we buy it. But we live imperfectly here, not perfectly. We're trying to follow the way of love, and we believe in forgiveness for others and for our own selves. So maybe someone's sitting here today who needs to forgive themselves. I need to on a daily basis. So maybe we think about the words changed. May we live changed lives, but receive now the blessing. Go from this place. And whatever you do this one day, do not leave the gospel here. What a tragedy that would be. Take the gospel of love out into the world and be about love and peace and justice for all people. And may we seek to love other people. And may we remember that the voice of love calls us the beloved. Blessings always be upon you. In the name of the Creator, the Christ, and the Spirit. Amen.
You have shown us, oh God, what is good. You have shown us, oh Lord, what we require. You have heard all our songs, how we long to worship you. You have told us the offering you desire. To do justly and to love mercy, to walk humbly with you, God. You said to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with you, God. You have shown us the riches of your love. You have shown us your heart for those in need. Lord, you're opening our ears to the cries of the poor. You have called us to be your hands and feet, to do justly and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with you, God. You said to do justly and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with you, God. The oppressed and the broken, to the widow and the orphan, let the river of your justice flow through us. To the oppressed and the broken, to the widow and the orphan, let the river of your justice flow through us. To do justly and to love mercy, to walk humbly with you, God. You said to do justly and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with you, God. To do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with you, God.
I neglected to tell you something very important. There's cake. So, you know, we love it. We love cake here. And there is the most beautiful cake made by, I know she's going to get embarrassed, but Cecilia Roberts, and Steve is, I know, the tester, and that's a very important job too. And there's cupcakes, and there's cake balls, and there's a big cake. So please linger and celebrate and have cake, because that's communion. Go in peace.